Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to welcome you to SpeedGaming's 5. We are racing Fred Coughlin versus Animus United in what is slated to be a stellar run. It is going to be a great time. It is going to be a lot of fun, and we are looking forward to seeing what happens here between these two very gifted runners, for lack of no better term, because these guys are very sensational in their runs. I'd like to welcome you tonight. We are joining us here tonight is Fred Coughlin and Animus United, like we just talked about. My name is Growlwolf. I am going to be the commentator for you tonight, calling all the shots, calling all the action. We just got off of Speed Gaming 2, where Paradox took down Magoo is adorable, but to really no fault of Magoo, he played an outstanding run, and you'll love to see it. He really did do a great job, so we definitely appreciate all the time and effort that was put in on his front, because it was really a great race to watch. And we are starting off with Animus United versus Fred Coughlin here, and really just a pretty standard start between both of these runners. Animus United showing off a bit of P-Speed strat before he was unable to finish off the level with it. Oh, and a rogue Lakitu shell does mean that Animus United is going to have to start over, whereas Fred Coughlin is now going to be moving on to the fortress because he definitely wants to see what that fortress is before moving on. Animus United is going to have to play this again. We'll hope to see those P-Speed strats come out again, because that was definitely a huge help to keep him a little bit ahead before he did take that damage. And unfortunately, that rogue fireball from the Piranha also meant a little bit more damage. Oh, there we go. That's a much better way to do it. And like that, Animus United will be through the level. The fortress is 6F2, and a fire flower does come out first. A star means that Fred's going to be able to move through the rest of 6F2 without having to worry about anything else. Those swamps don't stand a chance against the Starman, and he will be onto his fight with Boom Boom, and will be looking for a fire kill, but does not get it. That goes to 3 jumps. Hypercat, welcome. Hopefully your stream went well, and we do appreciate the raid with a party of 1. We are in a group stage race, I should say, from SMB3 Randomizer. Both of these guys no stranger to the game, obviously, with Fred Coughlin being the creator of the randomizer, and Animus United just being a gifted runner for sure. And just like that, 6F2 was the one that broke open the lock, built the bridge, and that is going to mean a fight with Larry, who's going to be at the end of this. Definitely get your guesses in for the next world. I'm going to have to go with world. Let's go with 4 this time. We haven't seen a 1-4 start in quite some time, so let's go ahead and get that started. Fred Coughlin now exiting world 1 at just before the 2:30 mark. Animus United with a rogue death earlier, are definitely not one that was expected, just kind of happened on a happenstance. And that is going to be Animus United following up with just about 12-13 seconds behind him, and really just a tight race at this point, and fully expect to see that for the rest of it. So very well done on both sides to go for pretty much jet world 1, and now we're on to world 2, which happens to be world 3. So 3 pipes right off the bat. There are a grand total of 6 in the world of world 3, and 2 of them are connected on the first front. That means the third one obviously will be able to go somewhere else. And just like that, we do have 1 fortress. Fred trying to figure out which one he wants to go with. And I apologize, there's actually 2 fortresses. I missed the one on the right. And that's going to be interesting. So no divergence yet. I am curious, though, to see if Animus United will play 7 first and maybe go after the fortress on the right. It's not exactly required, but the 7 panel is, because the pipe that does take from the winding is currently in need of a bridge to be built. This is, in fact, a Group 2 standard, which means in-card games are going to be available, hammers will break locks, and there's just pretty much it. I mean, it's going to be a lot of items, I believe. I think the in-card game is going to be very useful on both fronts. And just like that, we have a change in leadership, as Animus United with its Fire Flower is just powering through all of these Hammer Brothers, all of these levels, and is just ready to roll at this point. I think at this point, Animus United has really come in fighting. Fred Coughlin just finishing up his fortress fight as well, and now Animus United finds himself on the 7th panel with a 4-2. So we usually get the Giants levels in World 4. This time, because we've randomized it, it is in fact going to be in World 3. A quick comeback for sure. Animus United no stranger to this game, and Fred Coughlin obviously not either. So a lot of talent between these two runners, and you love to see it. You really truly do. It looks like Fred Coughlin actually opted to go for the top level. I'm not sure I understand that. I think that might have just been a little bit of a lapse on the side of Fred, and we'll have to come back to that here in a little bit, because he will actually have to come back and play 4-2, because the fortress is required and panel 7 is, unless you decide to use the cloud, which I think is a little early for. And honestly, 4-2 just isn't that problematic. Really, there's just not a whole lot that can go wrong there. Animus United finishing up the fortress that Fred Coughlin is currently going through. And with that, we will see our first in-card game. Now, with the vanilla game, the in-card game will give you the matches that you find. So if you find 2 mushrooms, obviously you'll get a mushroom. And there are only 8 different possibilities of the cards. So if you know where a couple items are, you can figure out where the rest are. In the randomizer, we've thrown away all of that. The items that you get are going to be randomized. So if you get a couple of flowers, maybe you get a frog suit. If you get a couple mushrooms, maybe it's a hammer suit. Regardless, though, one item it cannot be is a warp whistle. And that is because we want our runners to go through worlds 1 through 7, and we want them to take on Bowser at the very end. We do not allow our runners to do a warp. We don't allow our runners to do right, wrong, or any kind of a warp. No warp whistles. We don't play like that. We want to see basically an any percent warpless run where our runners finish off taking Bowser down. And we're going to get that this time. What does Fred not play? I honestly can't answer that because it seems like it's a lot. So I'm sure there's some obscure game, maybe not. But other than that, apparently Zelda 2. There you go. And currently we do have a windy fight with Earthquake on a very terrible level. If you are looking for a bad combination, this is it. But Animus United is making it look way too easy. That is the whole Baconator combo with loaded fries, and just a very, very well done job on his part to take down one of the most formidable foes in this game. Fred Coughlin on the other side is making his way to the starship, or airship, I should say, as quickly as he can, and will finish off his level by getting a star as the card. The "You sunk my battleship" message comes up from Animus United, and just like that, less than 8 minutes in, and we're on to World 3. And that is a hammer. So World 7, interestingly enough, there is a fortress. It is attached to the lock there. Animus United says, hey, it might be Fort Knox. I'm going to utilize a P-Wing here. He is given World 2's fortress, though, so he will have to go through the old-fashioned way, and with a P-Wing. So there you go. If you're in a bit of, if you're in a bit of a bind, a P-Wing's not a bad way to do it. And meanwhile, Fred Coughlin going after Windy with now a mushroom. That's a 3-shot, I believe. 4 shots and 1 more. Oh! Fred just unable to get out of the way. Must have miscounted. Wasn't able to get out of the way there quick enough, and that does mean a death from Windy. And out comes the P-Wing on his part, hoping that he can get an off-screen wand grab for that. Meanwhile, Animus United has finished off World 2's fortress and has broken the lock there. Obviously, he wouldn't be able to move on without it. So now he is playing the Pipe Maze game. We'll see if he's able to get through this here quickly. Now we have a little bit of a one level for Animus United, having a problem getting through some of these different enemies, but he has equipped a hammer suit, So hoping that he'll get another one for Bowser, as that is the quickest way to take him down. Unfortunately, that is a bit of a damage from a Cerebral Shoe Goomba, and he will be through his level now. In-card game still not going all of Animus's way. He's able to get a couple more matches here, hoping that he can get a few more. And he does have 2 hammers in the inventory. We have seen, 3 hammers in the inventory. Goodness gracious, this is looking like a jet seed for sure, because those hammers will break locks. And at this point, he doesn't need one. So 3 worlds in, hammers a bountiful amount so far, and 8-1 currently on the side of Animus United. Taking his time through here, I cannot fault him at all for that. 8-1 is one of those that even the best players get caught up on, and Animus United showing no fear as he finishes off a tricky level. With that, he will go into the piranhas. He'll get a item here of some sort. Could be a star, could be a music box, could be a fire flower. We'll find out here shortly. Meanwhile, Fred just a level behind, doing his absolute best to catch up, and an unfortunate death there. He did just miss the ledge there, and he will have to play again. Looks like he has taken the anchor, which is a hammer shoot. That's good to know, and has bypassed the end card. But he will come back to that here in a moment. Animus United now looking for a power-up. He is granted a mushroom for his efforts. And in this World 7 airship, he will be going maybe after some peace strats here. We'll see if he gets it. Oh, here it goes. And a beautiful display for sure. And up and over, he is into his fight with Ludwig on Fred Coughlin on the other side. Currently doing his best to get through 8-1 without any further issues. And that is going to be a fanfare on the side of Fred. So with that, he is going to take just a few more seconds, but does get a 5-up for a bit of a little reprieve on that front. So Fred now into the same fight that we just saw Animus United take a moment ago, and then we'll be onto the airship, moving on to World 4. Animus United heading into his next one here just momentarily, still on pace for a very jet seed. Currently less than a 4-minute per world average, and so far so good. He's got a pipe right up front, and that is going to take him to where the second fortress in World 4 usually would be, and he is going to have to build a bridge. So the hammer can break a lock, but it will not build a bridge. So he is going to have to find the fortress that does do that for him. There are at least 2. Granted, the fact that there is a lock there as well as a bridge that needs to be built, and Fred Coughlin unable to get the peace speed shot there, so he is going to go after an item, which is a star, and he'll take just a slightly slower approach there. Meanwhile, Animus United with 3-1 is going to be jumping through as quickly as possible, taking that higher route. Fred having a little bit of a trouble with that sliding platform, so he will have to re-engage and get through it. And now his fight with Ludwig does commence. Animus United now onto his next level, which he will go around and take a Hammer Brother on. He will have to play at least a 3-panel, and then we'll take on the first fortress there, I would imagine, and we'll have to locate where the other fortress is. A little bit of a tricky situation there for Animus United, but was able to defuse it without any effort at all. And the 2 Fire Brothers are now gone, and he's given a mushroom for his efforts. Animus United on one of my least favorite levels, mainly because it's infuriating for me when I miss the Parabeetle. It shouldn't be that difficult for a level, but sometimes it does if the Parabeetle doesn't actually spawn where it's supposed to. So he does get through that, no problem at all. Obviously not a tricky one for him, because he is a great player. So a very nicely well done job on his part. And currently Fred with another one up. So he's now up to 9, looking for another item, doesn't quite get it. And we'll go through the same 4-panel that we just saw Animus United take. We're currently going through the carpet fort, is met with a pretty easy enemy set here. He's got a couple of dry bones that went through with no fight at all, and the boo will just not be a part. Animus with a real nice shot there on Boo Boo, and that will be the end of the fortress for him. And we will see if that is the correct fort. It is not. There is also an in-card game that just popped up, and a free fortress. Now, Air Force will be the correct one. Right, also with just a little bit of an issue trying to get through those Fire Brothers. They were not playing nice tonight, but that will be the end of it for those Fire Brothers as he takes a small Mario into his 5'8" level. I'm sorry, not 5'8", 5'7", and we'll be able to get through, or have to play again as those that first step is a new. I am terribly sorry. That was actually 5'6". I got my 5'7" and 5'6" backwards. 5'7" was played a little bit previously. That was when Animus United actually figured out that the anchor was a hammer stew. It is now finished off the end card as well. Animus United now has a free shot to the castle, and just like that, he will be entering World 4's airship, which is actually World 5's airship. That's not confusing at all, but this is Randomizer. And he will be taking a P-speed strat to get through this very quickly, very nicely done, as Fred Coughlin does go through the World 6 fortress. That is, of course, the third one that you would see in the World 6. Iggy not putting up too much of a fight. However, that swamp on Fred's side certainly is, so he will have to play that again, and we will see if he decides to make any variation at all. If he does not, he will be going after the World 6 fortress here as well. Meanwhile, Animus United has now entered the last cutscene of World 4, and we'll be going into World 5 here in a moment. And get your guesses in for that one. I think it's going to be a World, let's say 2, I think we haven't seen. And a Fire Flower at the end. It is not, it is World 6. And just a lot of hammers on the side of Animus United. So it's going to be interesting to see when those come out. We're already at World 5 at 17 minutes in. And just really running out of a lot of time to use those. So we'll see here in a little bit if that does come out to play. Animus United on arguably a beta level that's very similar to 5.3, and that you do go down, or you start going right, you go down a pipe and start going left. But just like that, he is out of it with a couple of nice shots on the Big Bertha, and Fred Coughlin with a couple of fire shots onto the Boomerang Brothers, who will give him a peeling for his efforts. Animus United finds himself in 3 Fortress 2. It'll be the second one that we play before taking on Windy. And Fred Coughlin now onto the Air Force. Animus using the Fire Flower very nicely, and is going to be able to get through here just as quickly as he can. This is one of the easiest levels to speedrun, as it is really just not a whole lot that you can do wrong. Just make sure you don't get hit by the boot carpets. And if you have a Fire Flower, you're pretty much good to go at that point. Right now, opting to utilize a peeling. I can't say that I've helped at all for this Air Force, as it can be a little bit of a problem, and getting through this just means you can avoid all those wrenches without actually having to jump from platform to platform. So not a bad idea on his side. You know, not a whole lot of places that you can use that. And just like that, Animus has already found the airship, which happens to be World 6. So, hey, Fred, this wasn't randomized. Let's also get our guesses in for the next world. I've kind of missed a few of those. This has just been such a quick seed, and I currently have a kitten climbing all over me because apparently I'm not paying enough attention to her, so I do apologize about that. Her name is Lady Gray. She is just about 2 months old, I think, and is an absolute sweetheart, but also has claws and likes to climb on things that are human skin primarily. Meanwhile, Fred Coughlin has figured out the labyrinth of World 4 and will be taking on Iggy here at the end of the World 5 airship. He does take the star just like Animus did a few minutes ago and will be burning through here hopefully quickly and taking on his pick to Iggy. Lou Gehrig's speech, as I just found out today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I just found that out a moment ago. It was on July 4th when he was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I learned something new today. You get to as well. Animus United now on to 7-6, going after a clip here. And yes, a couple deaths on the side of Fred. He has put up a good fight, but Animus United has just really been pristine. He had an early issue with a death that went a little rogue on him. A Lakitu shell kind of got in the way, and he did have to replay a level. But since then, Animus has really shown a lot of panache and just incredible skill at this point. Oh, a very quick shot on the side of Animus United, and that quick thinking does save him from a gulp on the side of the Warpless Pass. A Starman is definitely an item that you go back for, especially when Boss Pass is looming on the map. So a very good decision on his part. Now, you can go into one of those little doorways that are in the blocks in the background to despawn the Big Boss Pass, which I think personally I would have done, but Animus United doesn't need it. Animus now finds himself in 7F2 and Fred Coughlin in the World 5-3 beta. Oh! In a poor misstep. It looked like he was just trying to get a fire kill there on the Piranha, and it unfortunately went in not his favor. So he will reconvene, go after an end card, maybe see if he can get a couple more items, and take something new into the map, and go after the 7 Fortress 2 again. Meanwhile, Fred Coughlin now in the 2nd Fortress in World 3, and will be blowing through this as quickly as possible. He does have a Fire Flower, which means the fight with Blue Moon should be very short. A hammer suit comes out on the side of Animus. I can't say I blame him. This is not a bad level to have a hammer suit on, especially if you're used to those speed strats from the vanilla game, as it does go very quickly, and really it just looks cool. Animus having a bit of a problem with a couple of boosts that just wouldn't move, and that's not going to deter him from going through his fight with Blue. Meanwhile, Fred Coughlin blowing through this jet seed of a World 6 and is now onto the World 6 airship. Thanks, Fred. Anyway, Animus United now has finished off the 3rd level of World 5. Will be going up a pipe, does find a Paradox pipe, realizes, wait a second, I don't want to play this yet, as the tower is on the top side, but he knows that there is a fortress on the right side of the map, so he's going to go ahead. Okay, looks like he is going to go ahead and go through because he did get that glimpse he was looking for, and does have a double cloud. We'll see if that comes out here or if he decides to use it later. And 7-9 does have a Cheap Cheap. This is going to be a bit of an awkward situation for our runners because Cheap Cheap does not change his, or Cheap Cheap does not appear or stay on one level, but he does actually move with you. So that's going to be a bit of a little bit of a problem for our runners. Obviously, these guys are good, so not going to be too big of a problem. Just something that they will have to be mindful of for sure. Fred Coughlin getting the Lou Gehrig speech, and we'll be moving on to World 6 as well. So a few levels that he does have to play, he'll be coming up to 7F here in a moment. And 7-6, he does have a mushroom. That means a clip can and should happen here for Fred, as Animus United finishes off 7-9. So we talked previously about the Group 2 flags, and that is, of course, what these guys are running tonight. And the in-card game is applicable here, and it looks like there is going to be a double cloud on the side of Animus United. And just like that, he will take a mushroom and find himself into his next fortress, which I do believe is World 3's fortress airship. Yeah, actually, I was actually just thinking about that on the race between Paradox and Magoo is Adorable. We were talking about 7-9, how it can be very tumultuous by having a cheat sheet on there, because the cheat sheet will change levels with you, and that's one of the really terrible ways to do it. So I guess Commentator's Curse does live on. It just happens to be from the same commentator in 2 different races. So if that's not scary, I'm not sure what is. But regardless, Animus United does finish off World 7, or World 6, I apologize, and we'll be moving on to the next one here in just a moment. Meanwhile, Fred Coughlin, not able to get that clip, will go through the level itself, and it has just a very terrifying enemy set here. So he does have to be mindful. He did go in with a mushroom. Unfortunately, he did take damage, as there were some fire nippers who were not wanting to let him go without a fight. Animus United now into his fight with World 2, and starts off with World 4, World 4-1. I apologize, I always get going back. World 4, level 5. Some of these do look a little bit similar, at least in the beginning, and I did make that mistake, so I do apologize, but this is World 4-5. Animus United deciding to take a little bit of a detour, wants to see, hey, can I go for a clip? Doesn't get it right off the bat. We'll see if he gets it here in just one moment. Very interesting strategy on the side of Animus United. I really truly hope to see if he gets it, because this is not a clip that we see ever. So we will check to see if he gets it here. It looks like he is going to go after it, just not exactly going for it, or not working out for him. That is the secret exit that he would get, and would actually drop him directly where he wants to be. So unfortunately does not get it. He will move on, and we'll go through the old-fashioned way. Fred Coughlin also finishing off his level as well. So both these guys just moving along very quickly. And as Leslie Pro does point out, the pipe does despawn boss pass. Basically, anytime within a level you do change your scene, it does in fact. Oh, unfortunate death there for Fred. He will have to play 7F2 again. We'll have to see if he's able to utilize an item here. He's going after a Toadstool House. I think that's an interesting decision. He also has the end card game at the beginning of the world here, and he is given a tail. So not a bad decision at all. Animus United just rolling away his fortress, and will be headed out to the next part of this world. Fred with a star is now making quick work of these piranhas, and hopefully gets through the double. He does not, and does decide to take a damage boost there. That is a hard place to have a tail, because you can go for a tail whip and try to get one of those guys out of your way so you can actually get through while the other one's despawned or going back up into the pipe. But regardless, so it looks like Animus is going to use his first of the 3 hammers that he has, which I think is a very good decision here. One fortress, which is Navy, will go very quickly, and then I believe if it's not the correct one, he will use another hammer, and we'll bring up World 8 here in just one moment. Leslie Pro with some singing in the Navy. I will leave that to Leslie this time. I'm still getting over a bit of a bout with bronchitis and a hoarse throat, so my singing is going to sound very squeaky and most likely sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks this time. So I'm going to have to divert that to somebody else. Meanwhile, we have in the Navy going down, and Boom Boom at the very end is going to be no longer here in just one moment. Fred now looking for a fight with 7-9, and that cheap in his ways means, yeah, let's not go after those clips. And it looks like he will be going the top route and able to avoid those guys with no problem at all, and will continue his path for sure. And it was united now into the World 1 airship, which happens to show World 7, which was actually World 2. If that makes sense, then you come to the right place. This is Randomizer. Anyway, Animus United is currently taking down the big boy Morton. And as he finishes off this fight here, we do like to play the Bridges to Bowser mini game. And that is where we take a guess to figure out, hey, how many bridges is it going to take for Bowser to become a parent? Honestly, this has been such a pretty quick seed so far up until these last couple worlds. And I do believe I'd like to see... I'm going to have to go with zeroing on this one. I think 2 bridges need to be required. But I think I'm going to step it up. I think I'm going to say 2.5. So I think there's going to be one on the left-hand side and then 2 more that actually go up to Bowser. We have a couple of other guesses. We've got 0, we've got a 3, a 1, a 4. It looks like we've just about got everything covered. I think the only other one that I've seen is, in fact, -1, which is to the left and not actually required. Fred finding 5-9, so a very good play on Animus's part. He did skip that blind, so that means he did not have to play 5-9 or even take the 100 coin fine, and he definitely played that very well and was able to move on quickly. Fred now making his way through 4-5 very quickly as well. Just doing an absolutely great job. These guys have done a very fantastic job. And it was already seeing 1 life, so unfortunately for Kirby fan, 4 bridges is not possible. You do have to have all available, I believe, in order for that to happen. Animus trying to figure out where he wants to go. He still has plenty of hammers to choose from, so no loss there. And is going to play just a little bit of recon before he does in fact go through. That is the second lock I've seen so far. There are probably more in the dark room. We just aren't able to see those yet. So 2 means I believe 3 cannot be possible either. Right now, I do believe we're looking at 0, 1, or 2. And Animus currently finding the hand bridge from the dark stage, but unfortunately still doesn't have all the answers that he's looking for. So he's going to go ahead and play World 8's Fortress, which may or may not break something in this room, and that will mean the search for Bowser does still continue. And unfortunately, a fight with Roy does go south as Fred Coughlin finds himself having to play this World 3 Fortress, World 3 airship again. Words are easy. And absolutely a Fred moment for sure. This is, in fact, where World 8's Fortress is supposed to be, obviously with a different icon, but we still count it. And Animus United, unfortunately, not able to get that first cycle. So he is going to check, sees a tail, says, no thanks. And he decides to take a damage boost so he can get to the fight with Boom Boom just a little bit quicker. Fred Coughlin with the final fight of Roy, and will be moving on into the very last world before Bowser's, and will be doing his best to catch up here as well. Absolutely, the wrong tile sprite, still a fortress tile sprite, just an air force instead of a actual fortress. And it looks like the pipe that usually goes to Bowser is absolutely correct. And basically most of what's wrong. We had Royal Ruckus, Lightyear were the 2 winners of that one, so well done. There was in fact 1 bridge, and Animus United finds himself in actually a hand state, the right icon with the right level, and will be doing his best to get through here, and we will have to see what the item is here in just one moment. Fred Coughlin with a bit of an issue with 4-5, and will in fact have to play that again. Boss Bass has certainly not gone hungry tonight. We had some instances on the last race that did reflect that as well. Boss Bass being just a little bit of a problem child for us tonight. Fred doing his absolute best to get through here as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, the bullet bills are just being a problem for Fred. It looks like he too is going to go after a secret exit. He is granted a hammer suit. I think that's very interesting for sure. But he actually does not go after the secret exit. He just wanted a little bit of some insurance here. A couple of damage boosts doesn't mean he gets to 4-5 and is now headed out to the next part of his world too. And him is now just checking boxes, figuring out where things go. Interestingly enough, decides he does not wish to play that fortress, so he will not utilize the hammer on that lock, as he does want to go back and see, hey, wait a second, is this the right one? A little bit of a trouble on Fred's side, as he will have to replay his level. Animus United equipped with a battle kit between the Hammer Brothers 2 as well as the Star does mean the fight with Bowser is coming up quick. And is now currently in his current scale of the steps, whereas Fred Coughlin is now into 5-3. Definitely not a fun one, as Animus takes his anyone flip easily. And we'll be going after a mac and cheese here in just one moment. Not quite on the first try. Looks like he's going to go for a DLP clip. And tries it one time, does not get it, decides to go back for the mac and cheese. 5-3 still being just a problem child, as it always is, for Fred Coughlin, as he finishes off the level here quickly. Just an absolutely terrifying level for Fred. And just in general, you know, we have the randomizer set up and can be a little bit tricky. We'd also like to welcome SpeedGaming 2. We are welcoming you to another stage SMB3 Randomizer Tournament between fcoughlin and Animus United. Animus United has just finished off a well-played seed on his side. Not a very terribly easy seed, as granted, or as noted by the fact that it was a 3605, but just played it very remarkably. So GG's on his side for sure. And it looks like Fred Kaufman here in just one moment will actually forfeit as well. And we'll get that stream caught up here in just a moment. Meanwhile, on the side of Animus, that was a time of 3605 for Animus United. So GG's for sure. It looks like here Fred does take a forfeit here in just one moment. He does find our World Fortress 1. And he will go ahead and equip a fire flower. Why not? The second race room is being set up. The seed has been rolled, and the flags are ready to go. We are going to be doing the exact same thing here. It's going to be just a regular standard seed. NMS United showing just a lot of skill there, and hammers were very bountiful, just not a whole lot of places for them to use it. Really just a very, very quick seed on his part for sure. We'd also like to welcome SpeedGaming 4, who has just rated with a party of 30. Hopefully the stream you just came from was very entertaining and a good race for sure. Fred Coughlin just doing his best to get through this as well, getting a little bit more practice in as he is, as we are getting ready for our next seed. Also, if you are interested in taking a break real quick, that would be a great time to do it, as our runners are going to be getting set up here, comparing hashes and getting started into this next run here momentarily. So if you do need a break, definitely come back. We are going to be starting this next run here in just a matter of moments as both runners do ready up. Seems like now is a very good time to talk about the order of the worlds. We had World 2 as the very last one this last time, so I do believe I'm going to change things up a little bit. And I think I'm going to say World 2 comes first this time. So hopefully well, obviously we'll see it here in just one moment. And it looks like both runners have confirmed the hash that we see on the right side of the screen. Those aren't just random items. They are in fact a serial that shows which number is correct, which number, or it makes sure that the randomizer is absolutely correct so we can compare easily and are able to just kind of at a glance make sure that that's okay. And we do have those two correct. So the countdown has begun. The runners are geared up and ready to go. And it is time to get started here. Stewie Cartman asking for a forced Atlantis. Stewie, you and I are both on the same part. I love to see those required like 7.5, 6.6, 7.9. I love seeing those as required. Like, anybody can blow through the game at 30 minutes. At least that's what I'm led to believe because you guys are so fast. But let's see what these guys can do with the 6.6 with Boss Pass. Or what can they do with the cheap on 7.9? We just saw that one. What about an Angry Sun in 7.5? I think there's a lot of things that could potentially happen here. So, maybe we'll try to go commentator's curse, say that these guys need to add a little bit of excitement here, and we'll go with that. I think Atlantis has really not played a factor here. So Atlantis, I think, is a great idea. 5.9 came up momentarily, but was incredibly quick for both of these runners to get through as they just clouded over it. So 5.9 and Atlantis back to back. I think that these runners really need to prove themselves, and that needs to happen. So anyway, 7F2 to start. I think that's a pretty good start. Not too bad. These runners really don't have the resources yet. So 7F2 is going to be a real test of skill here. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good start to this run. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if 7.5 actually has a place here in this map. I haven't seen that for a while. Yeah, we'll go with that. So yeah, Leslie Pro saying he went deal with 7F2 this early without another option. It looks like Fred Coughlin is kind of going off the same mentality there. I think that's probably not a terrible decision on his part as he is going through 4-1. Does pick up a mushroom, decides not to go for that extra item there, and will finish off the level no problem at all. Meanwhile, Animus is taking a mushroom, was able to find it, and is going to be finishing off 7F2 here in a moment as well. And Fred is going to go ahead and go on and go into the pipes and see what he can find. It is a free Fortress World 6. Fred says, you know what? Forget this World 7F2. I'm going to go after 7F1. And it looks like he wants to go ahead and just play the other two, just defy the odds. 7F2 can potentially be the correct one. We don't know yet. Animus is about to find out if it in fact is the right one. It is not. A lock was not broken, so I think Fred is off to a really good start here. Because Fred is going to play 7F1, and then I almost guarantee he's going to go to where 6F3 usually is, play that, and then move on with the world. So I think a very good decision on Fred's part, and I think with that he will in fact take the lead. Meanwhile, Animus United now having to go the long way around, as he was a small Mario to begin with, which means you have to get a mushroom, then you have to get into Nikki 2. Oh! Okay, 7F1 was the required port. Very interesting for sure. And just like that, like I said, Fred is in fact the leader right now. So he is going to go to airship from World 5 first, and a huge risk paying off. Wow. You'll love to see it. A quick fight on Lenny, and a statue cannot grab the wand, Fred. Come on, man. I'm just teasing. But he does go after the one with the tendency suit, going for a little old class and panache and does not exactly get it. So anyway, Fred going for a huge risk, huge reward, does find out what Animus just found out, and will be the leader going into this next world, which is, I'm going to guess world 4. Let's go evens first. We had almost odds first a little bit ago, so let's go ahead and go evens first. And we do have a wild Tanuki appears. Come on. All right, not exactly what I was going for, but World 2 does come up next. So evens are still there. And Fred is now into the pyramid level and will be going in with the Tanuki suit. Not a bad choice, in my opinion, because he can go without needing a shell. Not exactly able to go quite as quickly as he would if he had the P-Speed strat, but regardless, I still think it's a fantastic idea because the tail does mean he gets to break the blocks, and unfortunately, it does mean he has to go back because that tail is no longer, and he still needs a way to get through that block. So we'll come back to that in a moment, as Animus does, in fact, get started in his journey into World 2. Fred opting to go ahead and go through a pipe, a good decision to go ahead and respawn these, and we'll get that block broken as he now moves on through the rest of the level. Animus taking a little bit of damage there, does get a tail, and we'll see if he is able to use that. Decides to use a shell still, though, and it's having just a little bit of a problem with the fly duck, but he is now through there as well. Fred looking like he wants to not play this fortress, does take a P-Wing, that obviously isn't going to be necessary, as 7F1 has already been found, and he will be going through World 6's third fortress, which we were just talking about a moment ago in terms of location. Meanwhile, Animus United just finished off his pyramid and will be catching up here in moments. It looks like he will go for the end card, though. Not a bad decision on his part. He does have just a little bit of a higher score because he did go through 7F3, or 7F2, I'm sorry. There's no 3 fortresses in World 7. Fred now waiting for the escalator, or elevator to start, I should say, as he does have a couple of hotfoots who want to play spoiler to what he's trying to do. And it was now into the same level. So just about a level difference at this part. And Animus United, unfortunately with a bonk, does have to slow down and reconvene. Fred Coughlin with a start on 3F2, I'm sorry, 3-2, the second level in the third world. And he will utilize a tail to get himself a little bit further in, but will likely use the lift this time as he does not have the speed to go through the track that speedrunner usually would use. Animus United now facing off against a Boo Boo, who just saw Fred take, and that will spell the end of both levels for these guys, and will move them forward. So now, Animus is going into 3-2. Fred is going to be going into the 5th panel, and after this, both runners will have to take 2 more levels. We'll see if there's any divergence and see if that does make any kind of a difference at all between where 2-4 and 2-5 usually would be. A bit of a scary situation on the side of Animus United does lead to him taking a shot from one of those flying cheap cheats, and that will mean he needs to play this level again. Does find that the P-Wing is the hidden item behind the anchor, and will utilize that to his advantage to get through this level quickly this time and not have to play it again. Fred opting to go ahead and play 2-5, which is in fact 4-3, and he will get through this level no problem at all, at least the first part, no problem. Pretty vanilla setup so far in this level, as the Parabeetles, or as the Beetles do like to fall from the ceiling and try to get you when you're not looking. But that's not a problem at all. We got eyes on Mario, and we can keep him nice and safe. As Animus United is now working on a 4-1, I do believe. As Animus is now working through 4-1, Fred Coughlin finishes up his stage one more, and he will be under the castle. And there is a coin ship in the way. Fred must be feeling pretty good to be taking that on. I cannot say I blame him at all, as that is a nice place to take a coin ship. Really, just not a whole lot of time, and does take the two Boomerang brothers here quickly. And we would also like to welcome SpeedGaming, who has just traded with a party of 121. Hopefully, the race you just came from was entertaining, as this one certainly is for sure. Fred now utilizing a cloud to get through the level without having to play it, and we'll be on to World 6's airship here in just, well, currently going through it, I should say. Meanwhile, Animus United going through 4-3 with a mushroom, but not at peace speed. So he will have to go through with a couple of nice stops, and it's through it, no problem at all. Coming up with Morton, a nice open arena for Fred to deal with, so he should be able to take down Morton without any further issues. Animus United now onto his play with the coin ship, and that is the end of World 2. Get your guesses in for World 3. Which one do you think it's going to be? I'm going to have to go with evens first, though, so I have to say World 4. The Jacob's cloud on the side of Animus United. That was true for both of our runners. So not a divergence there. I think that's very interesting. Pee-wee was the other Boomerang brother. So very interesting indeed. And that cloud will also mean a skip for Animus United. And that P-Wing is going to come out immediately. Fred, seeing a fortress, decides to play a fortress and has found World 2's fortress, not 6, I apologize, World 2's fortress. And we'll be playing this one here as quickly as we can, likely going for an item here underneath the little bit of a block. It is a 1-up. Not a bad item to have in a randomizer run. You try to go as quickly as you can, but there are times where a 1-up is just necessary. Animus United now with, I believe, an all-screen one grab. We'll have to see here in one moment. And it looks like he did, in fact, get it. So very well done on his part. And a nice duck into the door as Fred is now finished on off his fight with Boom Boom as World 7 comes up for both of our runners. We'll see if we get any kind of a divergence here. And Animus, it looks like he will go ahead and play World 2's Fortress, where Fred Coughlin is now playing his in-card game. That, of course, does occur every 80,000 points, or as soon as you do reach 80,000 points, it'll be right after. So Fred with 170,000 points does mean it triggered a moment ago, and he is now going to reap the benefits of not any matches there for him this time, but hopefully soon he will be able to utilize that to his advantage. So far, a linear route. He located the mushroom that was just off the coast of North America, and is not going to be a factor at all. Tried finding the second fortress, and you know what? I don't know where I'm going yet. I'm going to go ahead and wait on that. It's nice to go ahead and play just a little bit more recon, so he can kind of get an idea of where he wants to go. That will be a required fortress, so where he just came from, he will need to play again. And Animus taking a very similar path so far. So the fortress in the Isle, or in Europe, over on the west side. Okay, very interesting. Looks like Fred has decided to play an extra level, which happens to be a hand stage. I can honestly say I'm not sure what the play is here. Unless Fred decides that he wants to play a extra level so he can go after the piranha. I think realizing his mistake, he has now turned around. Is now playing the tanks, the super tanks, I should say, and is going to be facing off with a couple of Monty moles before he takes on the Boom Boom at the very end of the level. Meanwhile, Animus United now trying to figure out the exact same thing Fred knows, and that is, where is the fortress and where is the airship at the end of Australia? So Animus has found the last of the two continents on our world map in World 7, and will actually turn around and go ahead and find the fortress that Fred has just finished up with. With that, Fred is now going to be jetlining to the end of World 7. So all in all, that is going to be a very quick fight with the World 7. So in the World 3 is going to be coming up here in just one moment. Looks like pretty much a world or a 5-minute world pace so far, which isn't too terrible. It's been kind of a longer one so far. The other one was as well. And we will, of course, see our runners go through it as quickly as possible. Blizzard Pro says no hammers in the in-card game as far as he's aware. I do believe you are correct. I'm not certain that I've seen that either in terms of um, where the hammer comes from, but it's also, I know there are some changes as well to the game, so I don't know, but we will keep an eye for that. Meanwhile, Fred is now onto his fight with the piranhas. Goes in a small Mario, no fear. And so far, so good for him. Meanwhile, Animus United is now into the waterfall stage, and he is looking to close the gap as quickly as possible. And that is basically it. You just have to mash the A button as quickly as you can in this level and get through it as fast as possible. And that is basically just the difference between the levels as a piranha. I'm sorry, the piranha levels is basically the difference of the levels or the runners at this point. And with that, Fred is now onto the first airship that you would come to if you were playing the vanilla game, as that is the one from World 1. And Ludwig von Koopa has come out to play, and that is an earthquake to Ludwig von Koopa. You definitely do not want him to catch you, but he is the beefiest of boys. That is a 5-shot wonder as Fred takes down the menacing Maestro and is now on to the next world. Go ahead and get your guesses in for what that is. I'm going to have to go with World 3. We'll abandon the Ealing for a little while and see if Wendy can come up next. And we're going for a pseudo pirate show. It looked like he was kind of going for a hybrid. He does get it as he was jumping and trying to keep him in place long enough to get those shots in. He does get those, and now we have a difference of maybe 20 seconds at this point. And was doing a fantastic job at this point. Both runners are just playing a fantastic race so far. Fred doing a very good job. Animus United doing his best to tighten the gap. I don't know at this point which runner thinks they're ahead, which runner thinks they're behind. Honestly, with the randomizer, I think they both might be feeling that they're behind. But both runners playing a very good race so far. Really just not a whole lot of variance on either side at this point. Just like that, it looks like Animus United has taken the lead as he was able to get to the pipe first, and that does mean a leadership change as Fred is unable to get through 6-6 quickly by not going over. He does have to go through it, and now the cloud that Animus used in a very good place is now the difference between our runners. Fred opting to go ahead and utilize or go through the tower instead of taking an early death to ensure that he knows where he's going. But that does mean that he will go ahead and go up and play the fortress that Animus just did, which is in fact the Navy. Animus finishing off the in-card game. We'll hopefully get a look at his inventory here in just one moment. And that is in fact a hammer suit. So one of the items within that card game did in fact turn into a hammer suit and likely will be utilized in the fight against Bowser here in just a little while. Meanwhile, Fred Coughlin currently taking off the Boom Boom in the Navy, where you can be all that you can be, where you can randomize with RNG, where you can fight a boss pass you see. It's in the Navy. Meanwhile, Animus United finishing off his level as quick as he can, and that is really just the end of it. There's one more level. Other than that, it's a free fight with Roy. Cranky Hero 72 has asked about the in-card game. Yes, we have randomized everything. It is not a one-up. It is not coin. We don't care about those things. You get whatever possibly comes out. But I do believe they are actually items. So those are randomized items that will go to your inventory. And just like that, the one cloud that was used was the difference of the level. So the one level that Animus was behind is now the one level that Animus is in front of. Meanwhile, a very nice run so far for Fred. Unfortunately, did get cut short by a boss pass who was chasing him, as well as the little bit of rocky terrain from 1-1, and he is through that as well. I believe it is guaranteed items. I might need somebody from chat to help me out with this, but I do believe it is guaranteed items where if you get a 20 coin, you are going to get an item. If you get a flower, you're going to get an item. I don't believe you get coins or a one-up from the end card game. But I might need one of the runners to actually come in and help me with that. I'll be honest, it's been a while since I played as SMB3 Randomizer C. Maybe I should change that. Maybe I should go into that and figure that out. Now, this one I've always wondered about as well. There are 4 lights. I'm not sure if that's part of a song or if that's part of a speech or anything. We found one out earlier that was part of Lou Gehrig. Star Trek, Next Gen. Okay, I actually just started that not too long ago. I am working on the one with William Shatner as the captain. It is interesting. It's been a long time. I am a nerd, but apparently I needed to watch Star Trek as well. So I have worked on that a little bit, and we'll have to go back to that as well. So I will look for that. There are 4 lights. Oh snap, apparently there are 5 lights. So either we need to update something or I'm missing a reference there. Either way, both runners now into World 8 Fortress, which is a bit of a long one. So not really a surprise, but both of our runners just doing an absolutely fantastic and stellar job so far. And honestly, if you do like what you are seeing between these 2 runners, which, I mean, honestly, how could you not? Go ahead and feel free to give them a follow. They are absolutely fantastic guys, fantastic runners. If anybody here does not know who fcoughlin is, that's Fred. He is the creator of the randomizers, a lot of the different randomizers that you see, and is going after a very swag clip, very nicely done on his part. And Animus United does a lot of streams with a lot of different things. SMB3 Randomizer, SMB3. He does some other stuff as well. I know he does a lot of Sonic speedruns. Just some really, really cool content that both of these guys put on. I highly recommend that you follow them. Show them some love, show them some different, just let them know that you appreciate the runs that they're doing. I definitely give them a follow for that as well. All right, I got a little bit of an explanation. Thank you to ZeroWing211. The captain is under duress from the Cardassians, and they want him to stay or say there are 5 lights as a means to break them. Yet there are only 4 lights. Okay, very interesting. When he is released, he says there are 4 lights. Sounds like I need to see the episode. All right, very good. So I have learned a couple things tonight from the quotes at the end of the level. It is a good night so far. We had Lou Gehrig's speech earlier. Now we've got from Star Trek episode, or from one of the Star Trek episodes. So very good. I will have to definitely look into that for sure. And I appreciate the explanation. So thank you so much for that, Zero Wing. Meanwhile, our runners are in fact in World 4, just again about a level apart. Fred finds himself in 6-1, which we just had Animus United go through. And really just doing his best to not get hit by boss pass, which I don't know if it's just me or if there have been a lot of boss passes so far. But honestly, as some of us like to say, it's a good start. Hopefully we'll see some more boss passes for sure. Maybe get an 8-1 boss pass, maybe a 7-5 boss pass. I don't know. Seems like we got a lot to go here. Fred going for a scene transition skip on the boss, or on the Boomerang Brother coin ship, which we currently have Animus United going through. And Animus is given a P-wing for that, whereas Fred is just doing his best to get through these as quickly as possible. And now both of our runners into the castle, and just like that, we have another possibility for a leadership change. Both of these guys nearly in sync at this point. Just wow. Yeah, Fred getting those lives is a very good thing. It is a randomizer. It does give and it does take away. Fred now into the platforming part of World Championship, both with a fire flower, and it's already into the fight with AG and Fred coming in extremely quickly afterwards. It's just an absolutely stellar run so far. It's absolutely stellar on both of these guys' side for sure. And not even a difference of what, 15 seconds at this point. Just incredible fight. And we're not done yet. We've got a long way to go. So we've got 24 and a half minutes in. World 5 has just been finished on the side of Animus as well as Fred. And they are going to be taking on World 6 here in just one moment. Fred looking for his first win here. I went back to check this out. It looks like Group C is the one that both of these runners are in. And Teeks and Animus United went back and forth. They split with a 1-1. Teeks actually took out Fred Coughlin 2-0 when they played. Almost unsurprising. Teeks is a fantastic runner. He was very, very familiar with speedrunning strats and is a very formidable foe for sure. And Fred is no slouch in this game either. So a very, very tough group so far for these guys. Animus United looking to extend his lead for second place, whereas Fred Coughlin is looking to play spoiler. If he does split here, that is going to be a little bit of a shakeup for Animus, and we'll have to go 2-0 against Jetta BB and do something very good against Team. So we will have to wait and see what happens with him. But very interesting so far in terms of the chat goes, or how the groups go for now. Looks like Animus United does opt for a very nice play there, going for the double rock smash, which is not a bad call there. It looks like it could be a good move, especially with this start. You know, you got a lot of levels on the left side, means that the right side is going to be pretty open. Yeah, Fred not having a second hammer could be a problem, but with that extra hammer that he now has over Animus United, there is still a possibility of it breaking a lock. So we'll have to wait and see if that does come back to bite him, or if he is able to use that to an advantage. Fred Coughlin now into his fight with a lack 2. He's going to go ahead and take the long way around. I can't say I fault him for that. It could be a scary level for sure, especially if you take any damage there. Meanwhile, Animus United making short work of this World 3 and will be looking to take a fight to Windy here in just one moment. Very interesting to see from Animus. He went ahead and utilized a cloud over a fortress, but felt very comfortable that the lock was attached to it, and rightfully so, as he is now into his fight, or with the with the World Fort airship, and will be taking on Liddy here in just one moment. And you hate to see it, but here it is. 5-9 has come up. One of the 2 airship or autothrowers that are still in the game, and Fred is going to have to play this the old-fashioned way. Meanwhile, Animus United has finished off World 6, which was World 3, and is now into the last of the world before World 8. An unfortunate death for Fred, as he now has to play World 5 9 again. So this Diagonal Doom has definitely been a problem for Fred tonight, as he does have to play it again. And this is a level you definitely don't want to play over and over again, especially when the very first thing that you had, or the first time, you went a lot further in. So you hate to see it. Unfortunate death on the side of Animus. So he will play World 1 Fortress again. Looks like he will go after the item this time. I think that's interesting. I think I guess he probably doesn't have any levels extra that he has to play, as Animus decides to go after a hidden item, which is a hammer suit. That's a very good one for sure. Fred Coughlin able to finish off 5-9, no problem at all. Animus United now going through 2-4 and gets a rogue jump there, so his momentum is completely lost, as he now has to take jumping a little bit more carefully. Does get another Fire Flower. Needs to be careful with Peregrine, but doesn't exactly get through it, but should be able to get through the level here in just one moment. Fred's still trying to make sense of where he is, decides he wants to go down and play the fortress that he knows, and will be given a P-Wing for his efforts. Energy United now taking on a coin chip. Decides the 1-up is not worth it. Fred is now going to play through his fortress of World 4, the first fortress he would come to. Meanwhile, Animus United is now trying to figure out the rest of this World 1, because World 1 Fortress cannot be route critical in the way that you defeat it, because there are two ways to defeat it, one by going through Boom Boom the natural way, and the other to fly up like we saw Animus do just a little bit ago. He is in fact going to have to go back and take on where 1-1 and 1-2 normally would be. This, of course, not being that, and be a little bit of a crazy world to start with. But 6-4 does not have a problem for Animus at all, while Fred does now take on the Ice Capade, one of the lost bubbles that we have included in the game, because we don't like just playing the vanilla world and levels. We want to play everything. Animus now into 8-2, has an Angry Sun, but is able to get through that no problem at all, as both of our runners finish off their respective levels very nicely. Animus now into his fort, which is 6F2, and will be looking for a tail here. Does not get it, so he will have to go through the actual path. Meanwhile, Fred is now into the World Warrior ship with the tail, so he did have that just the same as Animus. Only difference was the P speed. Fred Coughlin will not be able to utilize that tail within his fight, and will actually have to go through and take him down. Oh, I apologize. He will actually have a tail. Forgot about that last item there. Wendy is, I believe, was on the bigger side this time. Nope, I apologize. Just a regular combo meal. Nothing fancy. I'm not even sure you get the Frosty with that one. That just seems to be a very vanilla at that point. Animus United deciding that he was done with the end card game. Does have a couple of hammer suits, which is going to be just fine, as this is going to be the last fight before Bowser's Kingdom. Now, as always, we do like to play the mini game of how many bridges Bowser. This, of course, means how many bridges is it going to take for our runners to build in order for them to get to Bowser's Castle. I'll be honest, I have not seen anything overly surprising tonight, and I sure would like to see something interesting as these runners are going through this speed, well, maybe just a little bit too fast in my opinion. So I'm going to have to go with Morga 84. I think three bridges, all required. We had Super Basil, who said 2 bridges, only 1 required to get to Bowser. That's also known as a -1, where the bridge is on the left-hand side of the pipe that you come out of. In the vanilla game, the pipe is all the way to the left, and then there's the super tanks, and then there's Bowser. In the randomizer, the super tanks actually could be a pipe, and there could be a fortress on the left-hand side. So I got to tell you, I'm going to go for three. I really want to see three fortresses here that are required to build bridges, and make these guys play this honestly. Fred Coughlin now through 2-1 with a cheap on the map that will stay, but not a terrible level to get the cheap for the most part. It's going to stay down there. You just have to keep a little bit ahead of it, and Fred doing a fantastic job getting through that. I took a little bit too high of a jump there, but he is through 2-1, no problem. And Animus United now through his fortress, and we'll see if he decides to play the 2-panel. Does not, and we'll go ahead and go into the recon. Oh, very interesting. So we've seen 4 fortresses so far and no locks. Animus with a few more pipes that he'd sure like to check before making a decision. We'll see if these are tied together and if he has to start going through some levels. Okay, it is not. The first one goes to the owl. That is not going to be applicable here as it goes into a hand stage tile, which can in fact grab you, but so far that one's not going to be a concern. This may be the one that takes us to Bowser. It is, and 2 is the answer. So it looks like Starfall Infinity and Acid Coven. Very congrats. Wow, very congrats. Much wow. And Basil, you were pretty close as well, so we'll go ahead and give it to you also because you did have a 2 in yours. So good job, everybody. I have been wrong on that, I think, every single time I've commentated recently. But one day I will get it right. Yes, I do believe I am okay. I am getting a little worn down from 4 races in a row, but that's quite all right. This isn't about me. We've got Animus United. We've got fcoughlin here, and they are putting on just a stellar race. So very nice done, very nicely done on both sides, and just a fantastic race from both of these guys. Really, I mean, there's been a couple of games that have been, pretty one-sided, but to see these 2 guys come out here and fight very hard, Coughlin has done just a very good job of keeping it up, doing a very good job of making this a nice race. Oh, I had it right on 1. I guess 1, didn't I? Okay, well, there you go. Every dog has its day, I guess. Meanwhile, Animus United currently working on his 6F1. And is going to be able to get through this with a star, so that will become a bro orb here in just a moment. Or the upside down question mark, whatever you want to call that. And we'll see if that is one of the correct bridges. There's just not a whole lot left to choose from. And him is still just wanting to figure out where on earth is that final bridge. He may have it here. We'll see if he's able to get it. Okay, 1 down, 1 to go. He had a bro orb in chat, or borb. I kind of like that. I'm going to start using that. Some people call it a bro. Some people call it a orb. I'm going to call it a borb because that's just a lot of fun to say. I'm not going to lie. Anywho, Animus United taking the fight to Moo and fcoughlin taking the fight to Larry. Both guys having a lot of success as they take through this. Call it Betty. Okay, Betty the orb. I've heard of Betty Boop, maybe Betty Borb. There we go. We'll go with Betty Borb. Anyway, 2-3 comes up for Animus United, decides to take an early exit. No reason to play it. It's a hand level. It's not going to grab you again, right? Wrong. Gets caught again. You kind of love to see it, maybe kind of in a purely sadistic way, but let's be honest, ain't that why we're here? And that's it. 3 times volunteer grabbing. 2 Hammer Brothers suits means that he does have a couple options here, and a star means the perfect battle suit does come into play. And Animus United begins Bowser's Castle. He is ready to go. Animus United trying a couple of hammers there for the dry bones. Doesn't quite get it. That's not an easy target to hit. But he is going for the anyone's flip. Misses the first time. Second time, no problem. Fred Coughlin into the fight with the boom boom. And stage. Nope. Can I get through, please? Nope. What about now? Nope. Nah, this 2 times not a big deal for Animus. He's able to get through. These guys have plenty of lives right now. Have Coughlin trying to figure out where he wants to go at this point. Meanwhile, Animus United is jumping. Whoa! Over the level. Okay. Okay. Gotta be careful there, showing off. You decide to jump to the top tower of Bowser's castle. I'm sorry, but your princess is in another part of the castle. Meanwhile, Animus United has finished it off. And get your GGs in chat for him. What a fantastic job. We're going to go ahead and extend an invitation to Animus, see if he can join us in chat here. In just one moment, we will watch to see if Fred is able to get through this as well. Hopefully so. And a very special thanks to Fred, who has been an absolute outstanding individual in terms of randomizer. We honestly, and I know that I speak on behalf of the entire SMB3 Randomizer community, we would not be here if it were not for the efforts and the actions and the work from the individual that you see currently racing on your screen. So we extend a very special, a very heartfelt thank you to Fred Coughlin, who has brought us together and brought us into a love of a game that we've had since childhood. We were talking previously, Midi Guy and I apparently are the same age because we were the same age, or I'm sorry, we were both born the same year that SMB3 came to America, which is in fact 88. So it's a game that we've grown up with. It's a game that we know. It's a game that we love. It's a game that we've grown up with. And to see it in such a wonderful, exciting, fantastic light is absolutely remarkable. So to that, we say cheers to Fred. We say thank you, Fred. We say thank you so much. We love the work that's been done. And, you know, there's just not a whole lot we can't say good about Fred because, you know, we wouldn't be here. Seriously, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Okay, so Mini Guy was just a little bit beforehand, but, you know, we really appreciate all that he has done. SMB3 came to America in 90. I sure thought it was 88. I thought that was what it was on the title screen. But regardless, the point is we really appreciate Fred putting forth the time and the effort into such a great game that we know, we love, we appreciate, and really is, I think I speak for Animus in this one, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Animus, but it's the one that we know and we love, and it's the one that keeps bringing us back for more. And with that, I welcome Animus to the commentators booth. Congratulations on a 2-0 victory.
Hey, girl. Well, thanks so much. Yeah, absolutely. I echo those sentiments so much. Discovered this randomizer a year ago, about to the States, and I'd never even played SMB3. I just found the idea of a randomizer so unique. I liked Mario, and I just got addicted to this game and SMB3 Randomizer right after that. So, shout out really to Fred for making this randomizer and getting me into a game I probably would have never experienced otherwise.
I think I speak for a lot of people here, especially Magoo is adorable as well as Leslie Pro here. Fred deserved better in these 2 races, and I got to admit that I was just looking at your guys' group. You've got Jetta BB, you, and Teeks88 in the same group as Fred, and I feel for Fred, man. You guys are solid players, and Fred, you know, we really appreciate all that he does in this community, for the randomizer, for just everything, and even the other randomizers as well. And you know, what a tough group to be in. You know, you look at a powerhouse of a team, and Animus, if there was a single thing you did wrong in this race, I'd like to know what it was, because you played stellar. Like, these were both very long seeds. I mean, both of them were like a 5-minute average per world, and you just played it very, very well both times. And, you know, for Fred, he played very well. I believe he was on World 8 both times when it was over, and it was just because of a few things. So, kudos to you, but maybe we need to stick Fred in a different group next time. Give him a chance here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel for Fred as well. Those were definitely two very long seeds. Don't not jet seeds for sure. I, I had a few deaths that I was kind of annoyed with. But other than that, deaths are going to happen in randomizer. You never know what enemy's going to pop up, and yeah, this is the second night in a row I've gotten. I guess this is four very long seeds in a row, I should say. So, not getting the jet seeds from the randomizer seed rolling this time, but I love the challenge. It's you're not always going to get the jet seeds, and you just gotta find a way to fight through it all. The main thing to me is to try to minimize deaths and do as good of routing as you can do, and I try to do both of those in these seeds, and I think that's what I was able to do. Um,
Absolutely, and you definitely did that very well for sure.
yeah, I'll definitely rewatch this race. I always love when you commentate. Thank you so much for commentating tonight as well. It truly means a lot. And if you're not following Growlwolf, definitely give him a follow. He's an awesome commentator for SMB3 Rando. And I think we're going to get him to play SMB3 Rando again and join us in on the fun, aren't we?
I certainly would love to. I actually do love racing. I do love the randomizer aspect. Actually, the problem, and I mentioned this early in their stream, is that it's not so much a problem with me wanting to play because I absolutely would. I would love to be a part of this tournament, and that's kind of my take. Is I can be a commentator, but I actually can't stream right now. My upload speed is 2 megabytes per second, and if you know anything about streams, that is not conducive for actually having a good stream there. So, unfortunately, my internet right now is just not at the place where I can do that. But I certainly appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much for that. Maybe one day I will get back into it. I would certainly love that for sure, because I do love the community. It's hard to stay away. There's just a lot of really, really good people there. Not just good runners, not just good, racers, things like that, but just really good people. Obviously, as exhibited here. So, definitely follow the runners if you haven't already. Please, seriously, you won't regret it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to echo that sentiment even more, you were the first person that helped me out starting this along in SMB3 Randomizer, and I can't thank you enough for embracing me with open arms. And now here I am in the tournaments and having a blast. So thank you so much.
It has been an absolute pleasure, and it is my utmost pleasure and honor to say congratulations on tying for first place in your respective group right now. So, very well done. It looks like you split with Teeks previously, and now you are 3-1, which is also what Teeks has as well. So, very high congratulations on that one as well.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And yeah, this is a really tough group to have been put in with Teeks, who's just, one of the top 10 best SMB3 speedrunners of all time. Fred, who created the randomizer. I was kind of expecting a secret dev exit. I would have loved to have seen that being implemented today. But and then of course Jenab, who's a SMB3 rando veteran. So this was a very, or this is still a very stacked group. Still got a few races left, and to be in this position right now, I would totally take this, exceeding my expectations for sure. Enjoy everything, and thank you so much.
We just got some love from Teeks88 in the chat who came out of lurking for that. So, honestly, I think keep fighting hard. You had a couple of longer seeds tonight, but don't let that deter you. I mean, you're looking so far like you're ready to go on to the brackets round. So keep fighting, man. We hope for the best for you in the rest of this tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
I'm just trying to get the schedule pulled up here real quick. Any further thoughts about the race? Anything else that you want to bring up to light here?
Uh, I thought the second seed had a fun start with 7F2 immediately as small and no early power up. I thought that was a fun start. I'm trying to think, because I'm trying to think of two seeds at once. I know I had some thoughts about them, but yeah, the two fun long seeds overall, and can't wait to do this again tomorrow. I can tell you as part of the schedule, I'll be racing at 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, so 3 days in a row, I'll get the opportunity to race here. Hopefully, the SpeedGaming restreams don't get tired of me.
Oh, not at all. We are definitely looking forward to it for sure. We just had a question in chat about the ALTTPR daily race. That is actually going to be well, I apologize. I don't know where that's going to be occurring. Currently, that is in gray, so I apologize. I don't know where that's at. But honestly, if you're not already following all of Speed Gaming, definitely do, because they do put on a lot of very good information, or a lot of good races, and they just do a great job altogether. So if you're not following all 6 of the channels, please, please, please do. They're another one that we would not be here without.
Yeah, absolutely. I love getting the opportunity to watch, different games like A Link to the Past, Super Metroid. I even saw like Star Wars Episode 1 pod racing. They just put on a lot of great content on here, so I can echo those sentiments 100%.
Absolutely. So with that, I think we will go ahead and get started on the wrap up for this. We do want to not recommend, but we do want to let you know that there are some very good races coming up here very quickly. Okay, let me try to get back to where I was. There we go. I have the push to speak on my alt, and I found out if you hit alt and start rolling your scroll wheel, it will actually take you back or forward in your browser to the pages that you were at previously. So anyway, today we just finished up with the race from Animus United and fcoughlin. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, we've got It's Paranoia versus Gimp Extreme. Right after that, actually during that race most likely, will be Animus United versus Jetta BB at 4 p.m. Eastern time. All these are Eastern time as well. Frankenrock versus Dom, also at the same time at 4 p.m. And then Saturday, we've got 3 races occurring at 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. And then Sunday, we've got 2 and 6. Friday, next week, we've got more. So a lot of races coming up here soon. A lot of the groups trying to get their stuff finished up. And just a lot of really good races coming up for sure. And with that, I do believe it is time to close for the night. We've had a couple of very sensational matches tonight. First, between Paradox and Magoo is adorable, and now with fcoughlin and Animus United, just a fantastic opportunity to watch some very stellar players play a game that we all know, we all love. So with that, on behalf of fcoughlin, Animus United, the entire SMB3 Randomizer Tournament community in general, all our newcomers, everybody that's been a part of this tournament, we want to say thank you to them. And also on behalf of them, we want to say thank you to Speed Gaming for putting this on, making it all possible. And on behalf of all of us, we want to say thank you to you, chat. Because ultimately, it wouldn't matter if you guys weren't here. If we didn't have the viewers, if we didn't have the people that were interested, all this would be a moot point. We wouldn't have the interest, we wouldn't have the community being at our backs, cheering for the boss pass gulps, the 7-5 ridiculous things that we put together. So for that, we say thank you to you, the viewer, because you could be a lot of places tonight, but you're not. You're here with us, and for that, we say thank you. So with that, I would like to say good night. This has been Growl signing off for now. Until next time, keep randomizing, keep racing. Take care.